Oh, we're live.
Oh, yes, we are live, guys. Thank you very much for joining us in episode 29 of the weekly, because, you know, there's no indication that we go live until you just kind of realize.
It just dumps you live.
Yeah. So anyway, we are back on our new time schedule at 3 p.m., at least for now. Sam just joined us right on time.
New bat time, same bat channel.
Yes, exactly. And with me, of course, is Mr. Juan Bagnell. How's it going, man?
Going well. I had a beautiful day out at the park with Lex. She's just wrapping up lunch, about to go down for a nap. I am energized, got some sunshine, got some vitamin D. Let's talk about some tech.
Man, you look very refreshed this morning.
I like this one getting to ease into his morning a little bit more. So
I mean, granted, you know, again, this is a temporary time. The whole crew has to vote on it. Then I have, you know, veto power ×2. So just letting you know that it's still my decision.
Woot. But this. I mean, your decision should definitely be influenced by the fact that this makes for a much better show. So I'm just saying.
All right, Sam, how's it going, man? Sam, talk to us. Give us some audio.
Sam was pondering. Sam was giving us dramatic pose.
Deep thought. We getting a static Sam.
Well, Sam will be performing this week through interpretive dance.
Yes, Sam's going to use some hand gestures and signs.
That'll be I think the baby uselessness for the week is Sam's continuing issues with audio connections when it comes to Google Hangouts, because because even we went through, we obviously spent a couple minutes before the show goes live, and like, your mic cut out twice, my headphones died once. Like, we're not changing things here, but Google Hangouts seems to have this issue with keeping stuff connected the way it should be.
Yeah, my webcam quality is absolutely terrible.
Well, I didn't want to say anything, but are you not using your nicer camera, or are you back on an actual web camera?
I can't use my cam link. It won't work. It just won't work with it. It's connected. It shows, but it just turns black. So
it's switching up my audio every time I join now.
Yeah, that's what happens.
It switches the audio from one place to the other, so I have to basically look for where it's at and switch it over, even though everything else is working, has been connected the same way and is working the way it was. But
well, you guys remember when I went through months of robot voice? It's not like I don't have thousands of dollars of audio recording equipment here, and Google was like, "Nerp,
nope.
Exactly.
No, negative."
So continuing that useless trend, let us start off with the first
the actual uselessness,
of the week. This one was a doozy. And I haven't used that word in a long time in my life, so enjoy this one, guys. The Verge put out a video of how to build a $2,000 PC. Now, I saw when they put this out. I didn't watch it. I was like, okay, cool. They've done a PC build video. You know, a lot of people do that, whatever. And then hardcore PC builders started taking notice, and they
not even hardcore, just like PC gamers and PC fans in general.
Yeah, everyone did. But there was I need to find the video of the guy who made a parody of it.
Oh,
you know, he was basically doing his like, you know, Chinese English accents parody of the build video.
That's rough.
And I still have not watched. I didn't watch the full build video. I don't know if you guys watched it. I know if you watched any of the parodies, but it was painful. Now, the backlash was, you know, The Verge got completely destroyed by everybody on the web, at least everyone who cares about PC builds. The guy who did the build also got destroyed by everyone out there.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I think it started off. This is a bad look for people on the internet. It started off with people just criticizing the build. Criticism on the internet is not an attack, because there are some very clear issues, right? I mean, like some basic stuff like, oh, you need screwdrivers. I've got a pocket knife. Or look at this static bracelet, which is really just a rubber band. It's not a real static bracelet. And every piece by piece, the way that this is shot, the way that this is edited, there are very real concerns. If you found this video and thought, hey, I could build a PC, and you followed what The Verge is showing you, then you would be in for trouble throughout this build. It would increase the potential risk that your build will not be successful.
Yeah, so my main thing with this is, now that I'm seeing this video, is the fact that Capital One sponsored this. Poor guys, man, they lost.
Well, and so isn't this part of the issue? So The Verge couldn't just pull the video, reshoot it, fix these issues. And this has actually been one of the biggest criticisms, is instead of admitting that there are some problems with the build, they disabled comments. They removed rankings so you couldn't see how downvoted this video was getting. And then they took to social media to complain about people attacking them instead of just owning. So every single time that you escalate the situation like that, you basically encourage the user base to get even more visceral in fighting the misinformation of this video. And then that's when the attacks become uglier and meaner. So that's when you go from just criticizing the build to actually trying to besmirch The Verge's name. And so it's just a bad look all around when they're trying to justify, oh, well, yeah, we had to shoot it really fast, so that's why there are some problems. And you're like,
is that what they
fixed
said?
The build? Yeah.
I mean, they put in graphics, man, for crying out loud. There's some cool graphics in there. And
one of the official responses to some of these criticisms was, but we got the computer up and running, and you can see we fixed those problems in the closing shots. You know, when it comes to like cable management, they install a radiator, but don't put fans on the radiator. There are some very choice terms for their application. Their application of thermal grease is my favorite part of the video, because he says, oh, well, you know, your cooler is going to have thermal grease on it, but really what you want to do is add more. And then when he adds more, he doesn't smooth it out. It's just sort of a finishing shot from a porno on top of the CPU.
Sam, you're about to say something. Sorry.
Oh, that was just that's one. Don't describe anything like that anymore. My processor is just, you know.
I really wish I could take credit for that, but the phrases that people were using to describe the application of thermal grease were far more graphic than what I just described. Even Trisha, my co-host on Newegg Now, I showed her the opening minutes of this video, and the entire time she was, oh no. And she hasn't built a PC in years, but she does a whole bunch of stuff for Kingston.
Yeah.
So Kingston put out a whole series of just like beginner. These are the parts of your computer. This is how you upgrade your RAM. This is how you install an SSD. So she's been hosting a whole bunch of stuff for Kingston like that. And
all right, thumbs up. Let's do this.
She was just like
this is the perfect thing to start off with, me to jump into. Well, good God Almighty!
Before you
get to the thermal paste, it's the most cringeworthy part of the whole thing.
I haven't seen the thermal paste stuff, but people get a little weird about thermal paste. The thing with
this is like a
Juan, could you get us to the thermal paste?
Yeah,
I'll skip.
Before we get there, they put in a radiator, and they didn't put
They don't actually
fans. No fans. There's no fans on the radiator at all.
Wow.
So what are you actually cooling?
It's a magic radiator, man.
Oh, we getting there. I can feel it.
Oh, it's the best part. First of all, who uses those?
What do you use?
Oh, here it is.
So you can see the cooling block they have. Oh, look at that. He's just dabbing it.
But and he kept the thermal paste on. That's already pre-installed.
Oh, hold on. Can you see? It's not even like evenly spread.
I can't. Look at Sam. I told you, Sam. This wasn't one of those things that was like funny about thermal paste.
You know, what I normally do with thermal paste is I put like a big dollop in the middle, and then once I put it down,
it spreads out. It spreads out when it spreads out.
But he put dot. Oh man, poor guy.
And didn't really try and spread it. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump out of screen sharing here.
Yeah. Okay.
This is one of those videos.
It was booted. It was amazing.
So I downloaded this. I'm gonna save this forever. on this video. This goes in my Verge collection of The Verge claiming to be an authority on something they obviously don't know anything about. And this goes right by their video where they reviewed the new Google Photos app by reviewing the old Google Photos app. And it's just such a beautiful thing. It really is. Because this is also the stuff they point to when they make those comments like, oh, well, you know, tech reviewers aren't journalists.
So here's
people who make tech videos on the internet.
Here's my thing with The Verge, right? They partner with a lot of people. They partner with MKBHD as well, right? Yeah. You couldn't have just called them to do the build while somebody else did the narration, and then they recorded and made a cool video. Because that's
they could have called anyone else to do this build.
No, but I'm just saying, but they could call anyone who they had. I just gave that as an example. And then you still have your guys shoot, edit, throw those nice graphics and cuts in there, and you would have a nice video.
I will forgive them if they come out and say that this is someone who's never built a PC.
No, that's the worst part. Let me get to that part.
Someone wrote the instructions and he was supposed to follow it.
No, that's the worst part.
I don't know how someone would build a PC like this if they haven't built a PC before.
The worst part is they didn't even own this. When people started complaining, they just started blocking people and then trying to divert their attention. It was like, well, I wish you guys were this passionate about, you know, the sexism and racism that goes on in the gaming industry. That's what he started reflecting. He started deflecting off. I'm telling you, he did. And I was like, all they had to do was own this. Take the video down.
Spacey on us.
Yes.
Man, apology, not apology.
All they had to do was literally own it, take the video down, find any random YouTuber with some sort of subscribers, have them show them how to build a PC with him there at the same time. Say that they effed up. We got an expert here. He's going to show me how it's done. Collab to do it. Put it out there. Quite literally, it would have went from them getting jeered to cheered. It would have worked wonders. Instead,
it would have made for a good story. It would have made for a great editorial. It would have made it for a great presentation, and it actually would have fixed some of the issues in terms of education.
And he would have looked like a better journalist in the end of the whole thing, because he's like he owned
up. No. Tech reviewers on the internet are not journalists.
Yeah, didn't they put out an article the next day? I'm trying to find out about how.
Well, there was definitely from their editor-in-chief had a tweet out about it.
And Natalie went and tried to cover. In other words, they don't want to own at the effed up. They don't want to own it.
Yeah, the article was YouTubers are not your friends. That was.
No, they're not. They're people who come to watch your video for free, and their eyeballs make you money. They're not your friend.
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot of friends in my audience.
No, for real. If you're gonna put something out there like that and come up with YouTubers aren't your friends, then guess what? No, YouTubers aren't your friends. They're customers. Treat them like customers. Give them something. Okay?
Well, if you're gonna treat them like customers, give a customer something quality and don't try to set them up for failure.
Yeah.
If anybody would have followed that video, their house would be on fire.
No, I'm sorry, but like the thing is, I didn't see this video initially. I have never seen anyone screw up a computer build this badly. It just seemed as though someone who didn't know what each part was meant for was building a PC, not understanding that your processor is going to be taxed under heavy load if you're doing anything significant. You would be very careful about.
Well, it definitely, again, there's a tone to Verge commentary where they claim to be authorities on the topics that they're dealing with when
this is a thumbnail of the video.
when often they're not. And this is another clear example of someone who is like, you know what I mean? You can be tech savvy enough to know what all the parts are, but there's obviously a lack of experience in really doing this, in really putting all these pieces together. And we're talking about someone who's really well read, but not very experienced. You can go through and watch a couple build videos, and you can read Wikipedia articles and do your PC parts picker. But until you've had a couple builds blow up in your face, a lot of us don't get a good education on how to do this. And this is what we saw here. But from the perspective of a Verge video where the tone is, we know what we're talking about. We're authorities on this matter. And whenever this blows up on them, they fall back on, oh, but we're not journalists.
Oh, God.
Our videos tell you we're authorities, but we're not journalists.
The Verge was created to basically, at least my idea of The Verge when it was first brought was that we basically bridged that gap between you're just a PC reviewer versus journalism as well, because they do a lot of things that are very similar to journalism. They can't just say we're not journalists, so we can't be accurate. That's bullshit. You're a regular human being putting a product out. You have to be accurate anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the thing about this. Like, it's so much easier to build a PC now than when it was even like 5 years ago. Like the ease of you have to actually work at burning your shit. Like the fact that the thing is he didn't do so bad because the thing didn't light on fire. Think about that. Think about it. He had crap cooling on it, and somehow it booted. He had all that crappy wiring, barely any cooling, but somehow it booted, posted, and it sat up long enough to install Windows. That should tell you the bar is lowered so much.
No, this is the other thing. This is the other thing that really bothers me is they get to confirm that they have no journalistic integrity, because some of the replies to this video were, well, throughout the build process, we had to shoot that really quickly. But if you look at the last shots of the PC at the end, we fixed all the problems. They didn't show you them fixing their problems, but they're falling behind this. We don't need to have journalistic integrity while we're putting out videos about how we're tech authorities. And then they're actually using that as a defense of the video that they've put out instead of pulling the video and fixing the video. So they obviously had to go through and fix the build so that it would run games. Again, I think their example of building a $2,000 gaming PC was to play League of Legends.
$2,000,
but that's also wholly disingenuous, and they're trying to have it both ways. That we are authorities in the tech space, and companies and manufacturers should trust us to break news, to create short form documentaries, to build educational materials. But when we are clearly out of our depths, oh, no, we're not any of those things. We're just tech YouTubers. That's all we are. It's kind of like,
we're not your friends.
It's kind of, to me, it's a little like Top Gear always showed electric cars breaking down. But we're not car reviewers, we're entertainers. But you should totally listen to our opinions about cars, and we're authorities on cars. So we're going to fake a Tesla breaking down. It didn't break down, and it didn't run out of battery. But we're going to fake that to show you what would happen if a car broke down during our testing. But we're not authorities. But trust us. You should trust our opinions. We have great opinions on things, but we're not journalists.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
one of the things that is just interesting is
that's why Elon Musk went off.
Just taking onus. Like, for instance, I'm doing a build to do my Threadripper build, and Sam says let's do custom water cooling, and Sam knows that I do not touch that because I will wreck it.
Actually, I literally just typed that because even though I am someone who's done water cooling several times, I still screw it up because there are little things that you have to pay attention to. And I wasn't paying attention. And after doing this like 3 or 4 times over, where it worked the first 2 times, and it was plugged in perfectly the first 2 times, the last time I didn't, and I screwed up. And out of 3 980 Ti's, I basically destroyed one. So it wasn't a fun thing. So you learn stuff like that. You're totally right. Even people who are experienced in making mistakes. Let's not forget that. But dude, you got to own up to it.
Oh no, you definitely do. But that's the thing I was coming to is that, like, I've made some build videos where at the very beginning of the video I tell people, guys, cable management is going to be 0 because I just want to do this build and be done. That's it. And people will make fun of me. They're like, no cable management. They're like, yeah, I know, I said it, so whatever. Big deal.
Well, see, and again, if we're doing a build video as part of a story, we're doing a build video as this is a life event for us, then that's different than making the claim that I'm making this build video to stand as an evergreen educational resource for people who are trying to figure this out too. If I make a build video, it's 90% likely more I'm trying to make a video to share my experiences with other people that are similarly experienced. Not if I want to make a build video that's supposed to be a teaching exercise, I'm not, because I'll just point people over to the Kingston series that Trisha hosts, You know, like, let's really get down. What is a CPU? What does it do? What is a motherboard? How does it work? You know, I don't want to do that granular video. I don't want to do that intro video. So there are better places that I can point people to, and I don't have to spend the time editing video to make that look cool. The Verge isn't sharing the womp womp of a build going wrong. They're trying to make the evergreen educational video until it blew up in their face, and now they're trying to roll back on their heels and say, oh no, you shouldn't take anything too seriously on the internet because YouTubers are just all money grubbing narcissists like we are.
So the question for me becomes, the build was how to build. This was the title, if I'm looking at the right thing. It says how to build a custom PC for gaming, editing, or coding. Right?
Is it hard to?
No, I'm saying I think it's how to build a custom PC for gaming, editing, or coding. So that's I forgive them for that title because I think someone mentioned, oh, it was how to build a $2,000 gaming PC. That would have pissed me off more if
that was the original title.
That was the original title.
They changed it.
There was the original title.
You need to actually listen to the video because they make a lot of claims about, well, you know, you can get a pretty good gaming rig for around $1,000, but I wanted to go all out.
And he said 2,000 for all out. I was like, no. I mean, if you want to get the highest Ryzen, that is 2,000 right there. So that is not good at all.
You know what? I am constantly being floored at the pure stupidity of this video.
Well, it's not just that. It's ignorance and arrogance.
Yeah.
That's a bad look. And they deserve to get
the hell they got
for that look.
I mean, all you got to say is that I had $2,000 to spend, and here is I wanted to maximize it as best as possible. Done.
And he didn't even do that.
Yeah, but you know, they said you went all out, so it is. Anyway, let's move away from that, please.
But again, and it's one of those things where obviously we couldn't get through all of them. But the second we started talking about this, our live chat, people started sharing their stories. Oh, this time I blew up a Pentium 3. Oh, how I tanked my 980 Ti. We have this sort of like, it's almost like not like soldiers in the field, but we have shared experiences. Right? We have our PC building battle scars. I have literal scars on my hands from old PC cases.
Oh God.
Dude, I built my first PC. The only thing I could run was Windows ME. Just to tell you how bad that was. I couldn't run any other version of Windows. It was Windows ME. And I had a Voodoo card in there as well.
Nice.
Oh God, those are the days. I spent $1,000 and man.
But already that's exactly the difference in tone, in discussion, in humility of putting yourself out there to say, like, it's okay to say, man, I screwed up. And it's more educational. It's a better learning experience to show or to share those kinds of stories than to act like you're an authority on the matter. It's one of the things that I really love about working at Newegg is I'm almost never the expert. I'm almost always the Mike Rowe who gets to talk to people who know way more about this individual thing that we're going to talk about. And that makes my job so much easier. And I feel it delivers a much better commentary for the people watching.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't like to be wrong. And when they're wrong, instead of owning it, they just want to try to deflect and try to justify themselves.
And to end this discussion, Fat Produce says, but can it run Crisis?
Well, someone else, like I already missed it. I'm sorry, in the live chat, someone posted, oh, they should have tested this out on Oregon Trail. Kyle Ruggles posted that. Okay. Kyle, my man.
All right, cool. Moving on. iPhone officially launched yesterday. The XS and the 10X Max and 10S launched yesterday. There were lines. I went to go pick mine up in the store, and there were lines, which I was shocked. I was also surprised with how I haven't been to an Apple store in maybe 3 years to buy anything. I mean, I've walked in with people. I've just never actually bought anything in an Apple store in 3 years, and they were trying to just get me to buy other things. I mean, it felt like I felt like a Best Buy experience. I was like, I'm like, Apple, what's going on here? I mean, you know, they're like, you pick it up a phone? I'm like, yeah. Do you do you have a case? I was like, I don't need one. Do you want it to set it up? Do you want to get we see you don't have Apple Care on here. We see you don't have cloud services. I was like, I'm not using iCloud. Your shit is terrible. I told them that. I'm like, I can't do that. But it launched yesterday. Your thoughts on the device, and what people are sharing, posting, all that.
Well,
fun jazz.
My iPhone will be here in about a week, so I can't comment on the device. But I was also, I had to go and make an early morning run, and it took me by a mall where I knew there was an Apple store. Last year, Apple broke something that I think was really special for the iPhone brand, in that when the iPhone 8 launched, that was the normal launch window. No one really cared about that. And by the iPhone 10 was trickling out, something there just wasn't that same community spirit of people coming together to have fun about getting the new iPhone. Something that I know Samsung loves to make fun of in their advertisements, but if you've ever been in that crowd, there's something kind of fun about it in a weird way. I used to cover iPhone launches for local news, and we would go out to an Apple store or an AT&T store at like 3 in the morning to go and hang out with the people camped out in line. And there was always this great, like almost tailgating like experience back in the day. So going by an Apple store tomorrow, it was basically the only people there were already people who had pre-ordered, which I don't get because most people would rather just have the phone sent directly to them. And it was a very subdued kind of energy. Just a ton of Apple employees milling around, purposely keeping a line of people like a club.
Yeah,
but obviously the store didn't have any issues with the number of people who were waiting in line. It was just to try and recreate the image of what used to happen organically. And I don't think there's the same kind of lifestyle energy behind this launch anymore. I think Apple broke this. And a lot of people there were just sort of resigned to the fact that to get their new phone, to stay on the pulse, to show off their fashion purchase, like a new purse or a new pair of shoes, this was the price tag. They're all going to wait for it. And then that's just what you do now for the iPhone. I don't want to be a different colored dot in iMessage, so I have to keep using this product. And I guess the cost of that is now substantially higher than it used to be. Oh, well.
Before we continue, Renato Laporte said, I was watching a Brazilian unboxing of the XS Max, and the guy commenting that this expensive phone should run Android in order to really use this big screen, which I just found quite hilarious because he definitely knows it's running iOS, but it is.
I think Apple has become the company that people kind of either just troll during lunch date, because last year it was the Samsung trolling people standing in line by doing a commercial. Now this year it's Huawei with the
power banks.
The power banks, you're gonna need this. So they've become that company that's not really known that much for innovation, or even as a lifestyle brand per se. Just become the guys at the top of the heap that everyone's just trying to take down, and they're not making it too difficult for people to take shots at them right now.
Well, and I think this is going to be a major part of the commentary. Apple launching the regular iPhone XS, a totally normal flagship smartphone. There's nothing special about the XS. Apple's argument is a regular phone, a premium phone, but a regular phone should now cost $1,000, is maybe one of the best gifts they could give Samsung. Because at least the Note is making some kind of argument for why their phone should cost their Note should cost substantially more than a Galaxy S9. Even
with the storage comparisons too, you take the Note versus the XS Max, you get in the 512 of the Note and you get in the 512 of the XS. I think it's like $100 or maybe $150 more.
Well, but I mean, break it all down. I mean, I'm saying Note to iPhone XS. Two companies are making an argument for why a product should cost $999, not the iPhone XS Max, $999. I'm capping it at $999. Apple's argument is a regular size smartphone with an adequate but mediocre battery and a dual camera system and a screen tech that we've had for the last 2 years with a big old notch cut into it is the same as making the argument for why you should get a Note 9 with a bigger screen, a substantially larger battery, DeX, stylus input control, and built-in audio processing, which is far superior to what the iPhone can do when you go and spend $9 more to get the dongle, which doesn't come in the box. And you even get better accessories. You get the fast charger, and you get substantially better earbuds than what you get with the $1,000 iPhone. I don't like this era of $1,000 phones, but Samsung is making an argument, whereas Apple is just relying on the fact that people are locked into their ecosystem. You have nowhere else to go. This is the price you pay.
Warren?
Yeah, I have my iPhone over here. I just haven't had the chance to really play with it because I got it late last night. Kind of what Juan kind of summed up pretty much what I was going to say about the whole thing. It's just that their argument is like, your basic phone should now cost $1,000 for your basic flagship phone, and the XS Max is competing against a phone like the Galaxy S9 when you're talking about in terms of basics, and the S9 it is priced at the price competitively less than it and can do significantly more. And you're really relying on being locked into the ecosystem. Oh, you want an iPhone? You got to get this one. Or if you want a cheaper iPhone, you want the latest feature, go get the XR, or go get an 8, or go get something else. So what they're relying on is spamming the market with a ton of iPhones and hoping that no matter what happens, that person stays in that ecosystem. And that's a strategy that's eventually going to backfire when it comes at a point where, once again, all the manufacturers are well ahead of them, and then they're lagging behind, and everyone's ahead at a lower price point. So it's going to be interesting when things like fingerprint under the screen come into play, improved battery technology, storage starts turning into 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes on a device, alone. It's going to get interesting in those spaces when we get to those points. When you start adding, other manufacturers are adding their sort of DeX-like competitors to their phones to increase the functionality of them, which Apple doesn't have right now, which they should be really easily be able to do, considering it's iOS and can make that sort of happen. It's going to get, especially when you're looking at the headphone jack situation as well too. They can keep justifying this for themselves because they have such a locked ecosystem. But when people start to not so much care about the fashion, but start looking at my pockets and saying, what am I getting for this value? What am I getting spending $1,000? What am I getting, spending this type of money? I think you're going to start to see Apple sort of have a problem. That's why the XR kind of exists, to try and mitigate that, but it's going to get, significantly harder for them, considering where we are right now in the smartphone game.
I think Apple needs to. First of all, I don't think they care right now. That's just the first thing.
No, they're rolling in cash.
Yeah,
they actually did manage to push the market to say a normal phone should be $1,000. And like we said last week, the psychology of this will harm Android manufacturers. The Galaxy S10 is now in very precious territory, because will Samsung ratchet up the price because they don't want to be looked at by general consumers, not tech fans, but general consumers, as having a cheap phone. Yeah. I don't want the Galaxy 10s to be priced the same as the iPhone 10R, because then it'll look like it's a lesser than product. So I better raise the price to make sure that it looks like it competes against the 10s, but I don't want a $900,000 Galaxy S10.
I mean, I think that's an interesting spot for Samsung, because they can at least show they've got 3 new pieces of tech that nobody has, right? In the same terms of the in-display fingerprint sensor, at least the one that's the whole general area. If it's an infinity display as well, with, as the rumors are suggesting, and also the whatever they do with camera. But you're right, it's going to be difficult. I think if Samsung were to play it smart, they will price it $50 more than what it priced this year, but not get to that 1,000 range.
I think it will. what will determine this will be, let's say they put out that S10, and if they don't want it to be $1,000, they'll have to spend the money on a campaign that promotes why our phone is the same or better than that phone for less money.
We don't gouge.
We don't. You have to play. They'd have to significantly spend campaign money on that. That's also sending vendors to retail stores and sending reps there to push that narrative. And I think if they want to spend the money to push that narrative forward, it could help. It could help them in that space where they're like, yeah, okay, it's a little bit less, but you're still getting more. And maybe they even want to even go away from these full contract pricing and start looking at saying that our phone is $30 a month or $20 a month or whatever the monthly sort of price point that's going to be at, because that is also one, it benefits them because it locks people into a hardware ecosystem for a while, because if they'll upgrade, they're most likely to upgrade every year into the newer hardware and either continue to pay the same price or pay a little bit more for whatever the newest, latest, and greatest that it is. So they have two different ways, I think, of attacking that whole this whole sort of thing, and not going, it's $1,000 or it's $2,000 and stuff like that. And I think because what's weird is we've gone back into price points of smartphones where they were like back in like
Nokia days,
like 2008 and 2009, where we look at these ridiculous $1,000 price tags for smartphones. I think what I think all of them are gonna have to figure out is like, are we still gonna label these $1,000? Are we still gonna label these $700-800? Or are we gonna start labeling these, hey, you know, this costs $40 a month, this costs $20 a month just to own this phone? Are they gonna leave that to the carriers, or are they gonna leave that, or they're gonna be able to do that themselves? Which is what Apple does, that obviously on their own, because they sell directly and through carriers, and carriers can make their own deals. Samsung can sell directly on their own as well too. Do they make a similar push in going and saying, hey, yeah, we can offer these same rates? You know, obviously qualifying credit, blah blah blah. They'll probably lower the bar in that crap anyways to make sure everybody can get in. But it's interesting how the price points will work going forward when the S10 does come out. And if they do match the $1,000 price point, well, Apple has done us a great disservice in putting us in that, and putting us into this high price bracket for smartphones where they should not be, because technology should be coming down in price, not going itself up in price, you know, in that way. But Samsung,
especially with the display, because everybody has a bloody notch, which means a lot of notch displays are made, which means the price of the notch display should be lower. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting space where the S10 will find itself, and if anybody else can come in here and disrupt the market in a way and say, oh, screw you guys, we'll give everybody just just the base that they need, and we're good enough at $500, like OnePlus tries to do all the time, you know. But and the Pocophone, you know, and can anybody else do that? I mean, granted, I really, realistically, I think they're only able to do this because Huawei can't enter the U.S. market that way. Because I think if Huawei was able to enter the U.S. market in the proper way and compete against Samsung and Apple, they'll wreck pricing, because they will go in there and disrupt the hell out of that, to where that stigma of having to be $1,000 will start to come down.
I mean, yeah, I do agree. And it's really funny, though. You're right. If Huawei was in here, I think their pricing would be, you know, the Mate would be at that 800 price point and stuff like that. But I still think Apple will push the 1,000.
Oh, they will. And that narrative will still be there. That problem will still be there, where people are like, well, if this is less, that means it's less of a phone, because people don't think properly when it comes to value and technology and price for performance. But if you got two phone companies essentially kind of doing that, with Samsung and Huawei doing that and chipping away at some of that headroom that Apple has, that's only going to help that narrative more. When it's only one other person that's big enough to hang around, because we can't rely on LG to do this, because they like because they like the price higher than everyone else. And then a month later,
they don't like to price higher. It's just their last couple phones, they've actually tried to be price competitive against their competition.
Yeah. You can't rely on LG to be that third wheel to do this whole thing, because that would keep these prices in check if they were pushing themselves in that manner, but they're not.
Speaking of third wheel, the most leaked phone of this year, the Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL, is where Google wants to be. They want to be that third company, but it's leaked again. That's going to have wireless charging. There's wireless charging base. My question is, are we just all tired of seeing all these leaks and saying, just show us the damn phone and let's move on with life? Because this phone has, I think there was somebody yesterday that I saw that had the device, gave a breakdown on every aspect in terms of the cameras in the front, the one in the rear, software, how it's running. There's no way to block the super notch at all. So it's just going to be super notch all the way on this device. So are we just tired and just saying, Google, can you just unless it's coming out that day?
We've been doing this podcast for a couple of years now. I feel like we've been pretty consistent that the industry over the last 5 years has really changed in terms of trying to ramp up leaks, rumors, getting as much press or as much buzz for every little thing. The number of articles that come out when a phone decides to add a new color to their product is totally manufactured.
There was at one point only Anabog was doing videos about colors of a phone. There was at one point he was the only one that would do colors and accessories. Literally,
that was a long time ago.
And I'm sorry, I was just going to wrap up, but it is a little exhausting when a phone is, part of my Note 9 debacle was this phone has already been talked to death before it's even been officially announced by the manufacturer. And by the time it was in everybody's hands, look at the view counts on your favorite channels for the Note 9. This was not a juggernaut device. And I feel it's because we've spent so much energy in the PR wars leading up to it that we're all sort of done talking about it when it's actually real.
I think it's by design, and it's by design to avoid, because I think a lot of manufacturers are finding that reviews can also have a negative impact against sales. And I think they're finding that if they get ahead of it, they use the videos and the rumors and releases as a way of semi-promotioning and pushing the phone out. By the time its launch window hits out, everyone knows everything about the phone. There's tons of videos about to look up to figure out what's going on with it. People can already make their purchasing decisions within 2 weeks to a month of its first launch, and that's where you get those big numbers and booms come out long before the actual official reviews and things like that start to come out. So I really do think it's a way that companies are using it, a way to mitigate it.
And tying this back to the Pixel, because I completely agree with Warren, tying this back to the Pixel, I think Google has seen that if you rely on real organic reviews post-device release, that could maybe blow up in your face. I think there's some common knowledge
especially with the display last year.
So I think that there's been some reaction to that saying, let's leak out a whole bunch of stuff because we see that notches are reviewed fairly negatively. So let's get people tired of talking about that before the phone is out. I don't think Google was prepared for that strategy backfiring on them too, where there's been this overwhelming tech echo chamber of negative sentiment surrounding this phone now. And so I think that's why we keep seeing these little piecemeal leaks here. Oh yeah, I totally got some camera samples from the Pixel. Isn't that interesting? Let's talk about that instead.
I got it.
Not working. Whatever they're doing, both for last year and this year, it's not working.
I got a great sort of analogy to this. This relates into music, and I remember watching this interview with Eminem when he was talking about the Revival album dropping, and it was already panned before it came out. And he had spoken and he said, yeah, like nowadays, if you say you're going to launch an album, people are already saying, well, it better have this song or that style or this sound, or it's crap. So if you have anticipation before that and then you put it out and it is automatically not going to meet the expectations of everyone else, it gets panned, it gets poo-pooed, it gets shitted on. That's why he essentially dropped Kamikaze the way he did, because he was like, I just wanted to avoid it. You got to review for what it is. And I think we're getting to the point that the similar sentiment with smartphones, where it's becoming a thing where you know it's coming, you put the leaks out ahead of time. Beforehand, you put a couple of leaks out, controlled leaks, what they would always do. And it would just kind of, you get the little bit of news, but everyone would kind of wait for the phone to launch and then talk and then review and kind of go from there. But whenever you have a small slight thing wrong with it, a small slight thing, it can blow up in your face, similar to what happened with the Pixel 2 last year, and this whole display issue that has blew up in their face, that affected the sentiment of the phone. Because outside of the really display, it's a really damn good phone outside of the display issue that kind of happened with it. So I believe we're getting to a point now where companies have to divert ways around doing this. I literally wouldn't be like look what Samsung just did with this new Galaxy phone. They just dropped that they were announcing something that you didn't even you did. It's like, yeah, we're announcing something. That's what it is. I bet you that's fun. Yeah, that's all he said. I would not be surprised if we start getting to a point where companies are almost dead silent on whatever product they're putting out, and they just drop it. It's available in a week, and then they just go. You just got to run with it.
And I would prefer that. I think that would bring back some of the fun. I really feel over the last 5 years that this anticipation market, this trying to create some type of fervor or buzz around a commodity product, you need to have a phone. And most consumers are not getting lit up about that anymore. Most consumers, I feel, are starting to look at this as an obligation and a burden.
It is.
So if we want to make this exciting and fun again, let's actually look at ways that we can break the current PR model to make this kind of fun again. I would love to see a company just kind of come out of the blue and be like, bam, here's our new top of the line offering. Or what I'm really hoping is Samsung's announcement is a baller approach towards reinvesting in the mid-range.
Yeah. You know, Samsung, they announced the phone already. It's the A7.
No. But what I mean is for their presentation. I mean, again, it's can we make that fun? Not just, well, here's sort of a compromised mid-ranger device and we know what it's going to be. And now here's all the specs on it. And here's what you can do. Like, have that conversation instead where you can actually make that something fun, not make it feel like you're getting a lesser than product. It's again, I really want companies to take a close look, re-examine how is it that they're going about talking to consumers. You can't really surprise someone with an iPhone 10 or a Note.
No,
but you could surprise them with an A series. You could surprise them with something else.
No,
that's what Poco phone did. Remember?
Yeah, but no, the phone, the A7 thing they already announced with triple camera. The 4 times the fun event is still happening. That's a different device.
No, it's the same phone. That's the 4 times, but it's just the same. I think they're doing some other stuff around that device.
It's 4 cameras on one device. How fun!
And showing what they want to do, but it's still that device in Malaysia, I think. Sam, want to jump in, or you just want to stay quiet?
No. The Pixel 3. You already know what I think about it. The only reason I'm going to get either the Pixel 3 or the Pixel 3 XL is if I can trade in my Google Fi phone for something. Probably the Pixel 3, not the XL. I'm not a notch guy. Overall, yes, I agree with one. Like these phones, there really isn't anything surprising about them anymore. If you really think about it, every year a phone comes out, it's who's going to use, like the processor the phone's going to use is already a given. It's going to be whatever the latest processor from
845.
Yeah, whatever the latest processor from Qualcomm is going to be. And then the next year it's the same thing. So it's like, okay, this phone, we know what's going to be in the phone before it happens. What's the point of really being excited about it? We speculate, and the speculation videos get a ton of views. But when it's released, there is this, maybe it's a rightfully so or not. There is this kind of like meh effect. We're like, okay, it's already here, so let's move on to the next thing. A few weeks ago, it was talking about the Note 9. The Note 9 releases, everyone now is talking about the iPhone. The iPhone releases, everyone's now talking about, okay, what's going to happen in October? We have this, and this. It's once it's released, it's done. That's about it.
True. All right. Okay, so we are done with the Pixel. Okay, let's move on to Amazon and its surprise batch of announcements that were not leaked at all.
That's why Amazon dropped it the way they did. They announced 70 devices. Boom, deal with it.
The only leak, the only inclination we got was Amazon. It was on CNBC. It was an interview with Amazon. One of the execs said, we have more devices we're launching this year. And that was it. And that was, I think, last week he mentioned that. And then they had this event. They launched a plethora of, Amazon is going for your home. Amazon wants your home to be Amazon's new HQ. That's pretty much it. So
I don't want you telling me you have a plethora if you don't know what a plethora is.
A plethora?
Plethora.
Pletra.
No, really? Three Amigos? Come on, guys. All right, never mind.
Sorry, I didn't watch Three Amigos. That's why.
I saw Three
No,
Amigos, but it was a while ago. It's been a long time, man. You still
El
remember
Guapo?
it?
Okay, Juan, we need to make it at least
Within the last 10
century and age appropriate for some of these jokes.
What are you talking about? No. If the barrier is something like Three Amigos, then everyone should go and watch Three Amigos.
But Amazon announced a bunch of devices. They have Echo Auto, which is their plane to automobiles, which is a device that is you can plug into your car. They've got Echo Inputs, which is basically just plug into your old speakers, give it Echo capabilities for $34.99. You've also got a second generation Echo Plus with local voice controls. You've got an Echo Sub that's for $129. Second generation Echo Show for $229. There's also Alexa Guard. Now Alexa does home security, and then they've got Amazon Basics Microwave. That one I was just kind of like, whoa, really? Okay. All right.
Testing appliances.
Yeah, appliances in there. They've got Echo Wall Clock as well. And then this is where they went after Sonos. They're with their the multi-room Echo Link and Link app.
Oh, that is so awesome.
So,
remember when I said when we had that conversation about Sonos and whatnot?
Yeah.
Coming back to bite them, isn't it?
Yeah, but they still have to play in that space. That's what I said.
They do, but I'm disappointed.
So the thing is,
so before we continue, the reason why I still will bank on them, and remember, you're the one who got me into Sonos, is because all these people, all of them, are terrible with audio. Apple released a product, they hyped about it, and when you play it, you go, "This is rubbish." It's absolute rubbish. Amazon has tried to amp its speakers up. We'll see how these new ones are. I don't know. I'm not dissing them yet, but it probably be just as rubbish. So, for them, there's only just so much they can do because they don't own any of the services that people want to use right now. Unless, of course, if Microsoft, of course, never mind. Let's move on back. Sorry, Juan.
Oh,
wow, poor Microsoft.
The shade is real, man. The shade.
No, it's on because this is not an ecosystem I really want to be a part of. I'm actually trying to look at ways that I can just spread my patronage out to other services and to other platforms and not
smart
do everything.
things. Smart things, man.
No, I'm serious. Like when we see competition, it's not enough to say, well, I'll just keep doing the same thing I've always been doing, and I hope that the competition will eventually be as good as the product or service that I'm using. It's occasionally we've got to put ourselves out there and see, like, what else can other things do? And so while I think this announcement is really encouraging, and there's some interesting ideas at play here, if I were going to go Alexa in my car, I think I'd rather go with one of the, is it Garmin that makes the smart dash cam that also gives you like turn by turn?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it was Garmin. I might have that wrong, but they've got a plug-in. They've got a product with Amazon Alexa integration that looks way better implemented than just putting an Alexa puck on my dashboard somewhere. If I want to sort of experience pros and cons of that, I'm glad that there's a low-cost option that people in the Alexa ecosystem can jump onto. But I'd still be looking at what other products and what other solutions might actually be a better fit for that kind of integration. I don't want Amazon in my car just for the sake of having Amazon in my car, but having Amazon in my car with lane guidance, with a dash camera that can track and DVR loop if I get into an accident, and that can also provide me other voice assist benefits, is worth me putting that in my car.
Or
they announced a lot of stuff. Anybody was at that event, I feel bad for them, because if they announced 70 products, that's just like the holy crap. When you hear that, you go, okay, so what do I have to focus on? Any journalist or YouTuber out there right now, just like mine went. And they probably went, whoop, I'll just post this on social media and call it a day.
Yeah, that is where Instagram stories are just perfect.
They literally went, whoop.
15 seconds per product. You covered everything. You're good.
Jesus, but they I think they put out some pretty cool, interesting stuff. Some of the things I was like a little bit like, I think the Echo Show, the 10 inch is probably one of the more premier things they put out, which was giving it a bigger screen. Was a pretty good idea for them, and now I think the 10 inch at the price of $299, which was the 7 inch was last year. This is more of a proper price for that version. I think the speaker system that they put out, the subwoofer that can connect to the other two Echo Dots, is a pretty cool thing to increase the to keep people within that ecosystem. If you have one of those, I can just buy another one of those and have a decent sound system for whatever you want to use it for. If you want to just keep things very simplistic, and you're already using Amazon for your music and such like that. I do think the Echo, the hell's the name of that thing? The Fire recorder.
Oh, yeah.
The Fire recorder. Fire.
Yeah.
Jeez, let's at least get the name right. Hold on.
I think the Fire TV recast.
Yes.
Recast. No, it's not recast. It's
the
like,
recast.
Recast. Yeah, the Fire TV recast was an interesting device until you realize it's a dumbed down NAS. And when it didn't, as soon as it said, well, we don't have an HDMI to it, so what's the point of this thing? To just the full envelope, just record TV and then stream it at other devices. So this is just an add-on to whatever else, because you have to either have, essentially, you can stream it to your phone as long as you have the app that connects with it. But the reality is, if you want to use it properly, you have to have another Fire TV stick, another Cube, or other Fire TV based products to stream from that device to connect to it.
To get at what you're driving at here, Warren, this is one of the things that always makes me very concerned about closed off ecosystems. Yeah. I'm not angsty about Kindle. Kindle was a really well launched service for making ebooks consumer accessible and for making this as easy to use as iTunes was back in the day. And then they put out hardware, but there's not a lot you can do to F around with the hardware on a book. Yeah. You either have a phone screen or you have a Kindle. You have a tablet. You can read it off a PC. If you want, you can read it from a web browser, but it's a book.
Yeah.
Look at what they're doing with TV stuff. The myriad numbers of little plugins and sticks and boxes. Look at what's now starting to happen with the diversification of speakers and audio. What do you need to do to tie that together? This is where they start lobster potting up solutions which only fix the things that they broke. Like, they broke a product not having an HDMI out on some type of media streaming device, because then you need to have some other type of connector to make that work the way that it was supposed to. That's now how they're encouraging the value add purchase, by making it more painful to do something streamlined off of one product. You used to be able to do this by buying one thing. Now you need to buy three. Well, that's progress.
I don't understand why this isn't just a bigger Fire TV Cube with the same little LED on the top of it that makes it look cool, and it just has an HDMI out and an antenna. Like,
more onboard storage. That's it.
Yeah, that's all I needed to have was more onboard storage, the ability to record live TV. Okay, that's fine.
Well, no, if they just did that, then you'd only buy one thing.
No, but why even have onboard storage? Well, you might as well just record live TV.
I will give them credit for an onboard a local storage solution, because we recently talked about iTunes. So I really do hope more consumers will look at local storage solutions for downloading media, because these licensing agreements, the regional restrictions, when you go to different regions, you don't have access to certain types of streaming content. The only way, buyer beware, the only way to back that stuff up is to download it and store it locally.
True,
so
but
I don't mind that, but I mind that their local storage solution depends on an ecosystem of products. It can't just be a one product purchase. It's like you need to be invested in other ways in the Amazon ecosystem to make it all work the way that it really should.
I guess just mentally, I'm fine with, because it's live TV, and I'd rather just have that. I'm a buying live TV per se.
So is Direct TV now.
Yeah,
I mean,
so I'd rather just have.
You don't can't record on that, but then It's the same token. Why the hell would you buy this if you have like those other apps? Why the hell would you buy this thing? Exactly. Like that see, it's hitting you. It's like I can see like why? Why does this exist? This would have been great 5 years ago.
Yeah.
This is nothing more than a dumbed down NAS.
It's not even a dumbed down NAS. It's basically
it's a dumbed down TiVo. It's a dumbed down TiVo.
No, I mean, you know what? I'm not even gonna say it's a dumbed down NAS. It's even worse than that. Really, it's almost damn near just a USB storage box with a fucking antenna on the outside of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And overcharging you $229 for that.
And also sort of depends on you
or $279
invested in Prime and invested in the rest of the Amazon hardware ecosystem.
I mean,
and they got a nerve to offer 2 of these and only put $50 difference between the 2 of them. There's a 2 tuner and a 4 tuner. I hate when companies do this to put an illusion of choice on there. No, have some balls, offer the 4 tuner one and charge for $250. Like, why the hell? If you would recommend this thing, why the hell would you tell somebody not to spend $50 more if they're already spending $229?
Well, and I think the psychology on that is important, is because the more expensive one, I think, is the one that they intend for people to buy. So you put out a it's not that you see.
So this can drop like the Echo Show did 6 months later and be like $200 and screw over anyone that bought the 2 tuner one.
And this is also why I think we can reinforce why people should never be early adopters, right? Anytime. If you're on board the first wave of the first gen of the first batch of a product, you're most likely the consumer who's going to be statistically more likely to be burnt by that.
Quick one for you.
Why would you use it? Why would you use this over DirecTV, PlayStation TV, YouTube TV, or YouTube TV, or Sling, or any of the others that have cloud services built into? Or if you already have cable, like with Xfinity, you have the best of them all. If you have that, so why would you do any of the best part about Xfinity is that wherever you record, it's anywhere. They don't even record local anymore. You just hit the record button. It's basically saving it to a cloud source wherever you are, and you could get it wherever you are. Why on earth would you do this?
My own thing with TV services, in terms of that whole record thing, they shouldn't be a record anymore unless you're watching a live sports game. Or
I think it's just there just for
all the TV shows are on demand. They've already recorded, right?
I think it's just there for live TV, and it's consumer usage. Consumers are used to hitting the record button to say they're going to DVR something. But the Xfinity TV has its restrictions from regional places in home and home, and I get those sort of things, and I get that's not really the services. That has a lot to do with just how the TV markets work. But why would you get this thing when it's gimped, it's hampered down? Unless somebody hacks the crap out of this, which I would love to see happen, and creates their own sort of HD home run or Kodi box out of this thing and just hack the crap out of it. Great, but this thing it makes no sense to me why this exists.
Well, but it exists because they have pretty good data on the customers who aren't.
This is the XR of their Fire TV stuff.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it. No, I'm serious. The iPhone XR exists in a way to sort of shame people to not buy the more expensive product, or to punish. I feel it's almost a punitive phone in some ways, to punish people for not buying the more expensive product because of the pricing tier that it's at. But this also exists on. We can bank on a certain amount of our user base not being tech savvy enough to really investigate what solutions they might have open to them. And
I know.
And they've invested in our ecosystem, so now we can reap the benefits of that investment. Now we can charge them for products that fix problems that we kind of created ourselves. And they'll feel like they're getting something techie and cool out of it, and we get to we get to add those value add-on accessory purchases and get multiple purchases and tie them into our ecosystem even more. And then it is sort of circulars. So let's say someone gets this, they realize that it's not really as great a product as what Amazon was putting it out to be. They've spent money on it. So they're more invested in the ecosystem, so they're less likely to just walk away.
Oh, I even got something better with this. It doesn't even come with an antenna. You have to actually buy an antenna. to attach to the system.
Well,
So
and if we were talking about iPhones, then you would have a whole army of Amazon fans saying, "I'm glad it doesn't come with an antenna. I'm glad." People who have these probably already have antennas. So you shouldn't include the basic functionality in the box, because maybe they'll pick an antenna that I don't want, and I can go and now I have the freedom to spend more on the headphone dongle. I mean, the antenna that I really want to have instead, because everyone should just go to Bluetooth antennas is really the best way. I might be mixing my companies at this point.
The hilarious thing is, none of us are going to review this thing either. Nobody in this space is going to review this. So it's probably going to get a certain level of stars or whatever from it because consumers have reviewed it and they'll probably review it great. Instead of somebody busting out and saying this is a piece of crap and attacking it. So they might just get away with this nonsense.
Can we not talk about this stupid box? Imagine Zaggy is asking why people bash the XR.
Oh, I answered it right there for him. Okay. I answered it right there for him.
I mean,
I'll feel that.
Wait. Let's get Sam bashing first. Go ahead, Sam.
This will be quick. This will be good.
The XR.
It's I don't know. It's basically a phone for people who generally shouldn't be buying but they want to buy an iPhone X and look as though they have the newest, greatest thing. That's exactly what it is. The vanity phone. You know, it doesn't give you any of the main features, but it gives you the vanity, the look and feel of an iPhone X.
Maybe. I feel like this is a two-pronged strategy. There are going to be people who care about having a new iPhone, and then there are going to be people who show off their products, their lifestyle products, as some sort of lifestyle image. The people who are into the lifestyle image will an iPhone XR will not do, because that's the cheap iPhone now. For me, it really just stems down to this is the iPhone XS and the iPhone XR are bad arguments when we're looking at the proposition of performance for money.
But the thing is, I can justify the XS of the XR like any day of the week. I can justify that thing.
We've had that conversation too, but in actually answering Imagine Zaggy's question here, we really want to see, what is it that you get for the argument Apple is making for a $750 phone? And remember, the LG G7 launched at $750, and there was much whinging and gnashing of teeth that phone was so overpriced, being $30 or $20 more than a Galaxy S9. So we are in Galaxy S9 and LG G7 territory. But I'm going to stick with the G7 because it launched at $750, just like the XR launched at $750, ignoring the fact that you can pick up like 3 LG G7s and a half a ham sandwich for like $50 through a carrier right now. For that price, you get a woefully worse LCD display.
No. The best LCD Apple has ever created.
No. They didn't say Apple has ever created. Apple says that the LCD on the XR is the most advanced, not the best.
The most
advanced, but you have roughly 4 times the resolution with a quad sub-pixel super bright display on the LG.
Mike Tech. Hello, are you balling on a budget? Well, we got the phone just for you.
You deal with the differences in things like camera tech. So for $750, Apple is making an argument that you only need the one camera, whereas LG has one of the best secondary camera solutions I've ever used with the ultra-wide sensor. For $750, they're not going to include a headphone dongle in the box, whereas LG has objectively the absolute best near audiophile grade headphone jack that you can use to power whatever you want. Cans up to 600 ohms can be powered directly off of this, or cheap earbuds. And along with that, while there are going to be personal preference arguments, I really like the boombox feature on the G7, which can fill a room. I mean, this gets loud, and I rarely use my little Bluetooth speaker anymore because the G7 does a fine job of broadcasting audio for a small room for my office. $750 to $750, basically the argument Apple is making is, you don't want to be the schlub in your iMessage conversations with your friends who has the green dot. You don't want to look bad. So you need to spend even more to make sure you're keeping up with the Joneses. You need to spend even more for basic smartphone features that we used to take for granted. And it really flies in the face of their strategies on things like the iPhone SE. The iPhone SE is still the best thing Apple has ever made. Price to performance, nailing their demographic, arriving at exactly the target market that they wanted to, and a device that had a ton of longevity. The iPhone XR is not that phone. It's not. And we've seen an Apple that is now leveraging the consumer lock-in that they have. They've got you locked in. You're not going to leave. It would be embarrassing to your friends. It's not fashionable if you leave. So now we can ratchet up the prices on you because that's the cost of doing business with Apple when you're in that closed ecosystem. You don't have another iPhone competitor. It's all Apple. If I get pissed off with LG, I can go to Huawei. I can go to Samsung. HTC might bring back the headphone jack, and I will be very happy to go back to HTC with an HTC with a built-in headphone jack. There's a company that used to know their way around sound. Can't do that with Apple. So that's the price that you pay. You're going to pay more and more and more just for the basics. And that's the argument that Apple is encouraging now.
All right, so let's leave painful Apple territory. We've been there twice already today, and end over at Huawei's land of the lost in different continents. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, we're talking about the Mate 20 Pro. They just dropped another teaser that looks like supports some of the rumors. It says the phone will have an underwater mode. So I am guessing, since all these phones are water resistant, that this may have a little bit more than IP68 to ensure that you can use it for a longer period of time while surfing, swimming, which I can't do quite well, just say it. So I would not be swimming.
Well, we need to see that video, E. I'm sorry, man. We're going to have to throw you into the deep end, figuratively and literally.
Just go watch my Miami video with the Note 9. You see me rescued. Yeah, Daniel left it in the cut. Daniel, damn you.
Keep it honest. You can't be like TheVerge. You can't just like, oh no, everything was perfect.
But yeah, so what do you guys think? Underwater mode, do you think it's necessary? Do you just think it's something just adding to slew of features for the device?
If they're actually putting an actual experience around the IP68 capability, or should I say the protection of the phone, that's pretty cool. Because you saw we did the same thing with the Note 8, right? We tossed it in the water. We did the whole video. Shattered my screen because I should have been smarter. But
I got to describe what happened. Sam dropped the phone, was dropping his phone, and then diving in and pick it up to do this like look of the recording while the phone is dropping, and then you jump in, you pick it up, and bring it out of the water. So before Sam did it, Sam decided to take out his case. Yeah, I don't know why, because he's gonna stop. He moved his phone out of the case, dropped the case, and then dropped his phone in the water, and then he went doink like that, real hard. Granted, if you kept your case,
it would not have shattered in any way, shape, or form.
And the case does not affect your recording in any way.
Hey.
Just throw it out there. Just throw it out there.
Stop preaching to the already initiated, okay? But at the end of the day, though, it's just it's doable on not just phones coming out, phones that exist now, phones that have been out for years. It will be interesting to see what they're doing with this. Are they actually putting around a mode that times how much time you've been spending taking that video? Because I think for IP68 is what, like 30 minutes that you can use it on to
it's 30 minutes depth. at I think I want to say it's a depth of around 2 meters, whereas IP67 is usually under that.
Yeah. So if they're timing that, if they're saying, oh, you have X amount of time of recording left, they put a feature into the hitting a on-screen button, they basically automatically switch to the volume up. There are things they could do to make it more useful. So
it's supposed to be tied with your AI modes. So this is part of that, they've been doing with the
they should try not to use the take a photo.
No.
Because you're underwater and you can't take a photo.
No, I think once the camera is open and it goes underwater, it should automatically switch to
now my problem with this is going to be, though, if we're just talking about normal IP certifications, I feel it's irresponsible to market services on the phone and to promote services on the phone that are going to encourage consumers to do things that are really outside the certification process of IP68. IP68 is not waterproof. It is water resistant to within a certain set of metrics.
Yeah.
And those metrics really aren't that robust. 2 meters, 6 feet of water for up to 30 minutes is not, that's not like a diver or swimmer's phone, or really taking your phone with you to produce underwater stuff. And we also have to look at what those IP ratings actually mean when it comes to ingress over saltwater, and then also over jets of water. So you're going to encourage your consumers to engage in riskier behavior by promoting an idea that doesn't necessarily. I mean, there's a pair of headphones.
Juan, can I ask you a question?
What's that?
Why are you being a party pooper right now to Huawei, man? They just try to just give you underwater mode, bro.
It's not that, because I'm in a circular way. I actually do there is something I also do want to praise them for, but there's a pair of headphones that I haven't reviewed that I have, where a lot of their marketing material is, showing people swimming, showing people using their products underwater, these headphones and these earbuds being completely submerged. But then you open up the safety and warranty card, and there's a lot of bold text about how you should not use this product while swimming. You should not use this product underwater. And they're relying on, it's got a basic IP rating. I think it's IP67. It's got a basic IP rating, so you could, but the company, and also trying to hedge their bets against any type of lawsuit or warranty problems, because if you get these things water damaged, then they're not going to replace these earbuds for you. They have to put into the legal side of this, oh no, don't do what we're showing you on the side of the box. That's not how you're supposed to use this product. And so this type of a situation where Huawei has an underwater mode has to come with more than just a little pop-up before you turn on the camera saying, oh, and by the way, your phone's rated for this depth and this thing. So it's not really waterproof. Go have fun with your underwater mode. I love you, bye. It's got to be a more robust education than that, or they've got to live with a ton of Huawei's facing a significant amount of water damage that they're going to have to cover, because they're encouraging the use of an underwater mode on their product. That being said, I really do hope that this improves the conversation on durability. I feel even if your phone isn't rated IP68, it should just be now part of consumer protection law that every manufacturer has to disclose some kind of ingress and mil-spec rating. I think IP53 is more than adequate for most people. IP53 would be great, but because there's this nerd backlash over not having the bestest numbers after the IP rating, manufacturers won't tell us what the actual IP rating is. That's my hypothesis on the OnePlus 6. I think it's somewhere around IP53, but I really want to know that. I want to know that if I get my phone wet in the rain, that it's going to be more likely to survive. I don't necessarily care that I can take a OnePlus down to the bottom of my swimming pool.
Under the sea. Under the sea.
And on that note, well, the last quick topic we have is basically Huawei's foldable phone will be also 5G compliant. So
cool.
That's nice. It's all
all sorts of 5G.
Yeah.
And this is the phone coming out in 2019. Wow, it's going to join all the other 5G compliant phones. Amazing. Look at that.
The
And
part,
no one will buy.
the part that there are a couple of 5G rumors. I didn't put it on there, but there was one saying that Samsung has 5 variants of the S10. It's just that some will be 5G. 2 of them are 5G, and the other 3 are regular S10s. So I think it's interesting. But and the 5G news that I saw some people discussing about it, I just didn't get time to read it, was talking about how Verizon and AT&T talking about there might be different pricing structures for 5G. The reason why that is very, very annoying is I've spent time with Qualcomm, and I remember the last time we went for their 5G day, and I kid you not, the guy at Qualcomm, his name is Sharif. He used to be at Qualcomm. He just left. He explained 5G as in-depthly as possible. Very good explanation, basically saying, not theoretically, what we've built with 5G and what we're providing should bring prices down. Literally.
Why would carriers
bring
bring
down?
Yeah.
It should alleviate the issue of having more people on the network.
More people on the network.
It's ridiculous what this company.
It's a lot of things, because I actually even tested it. Remember, all up until the new iPhone 10s and 10s Max, they didn't have gigabit LTE. The original iPhone 10 doesn't have gigabit LTE, but when you use the iPhone 10 in a gigabit LTE network, it goes faster. It literally does. It's not even just because your other phones are going on and off the network much quicker. When I was running speed tests, and I'm going, okay, this is great. And we all sat down and we said, so that means prices should be cheaper for manufacturers. Like, no, I am not saying that. I'm just saying that what our product can do is this. And then here
it makes it cheaper for them in terms of services, but they will increase prices. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And here in AT&T and Verizon talk about how pricing, will differ. Or that already tells me you guys are jacking up the price for anything at this point.
Well, what they're talking about is doing pricing based on speeds tiers instead of doing it based on consumption of consumption. Yeah, so they're talking about you can basically buy into which lane you ever want to buy into, and
as long as you don't slow me down.
Well, the thing is,
they can still slow you down whenever they want.
They'll always do that. That's just.
Then why am I paying for the pricing structure? I mean, why am I paying it like I'm paying for in-home internet?
Because it's better.
Mm-hmm. The chance.
It's better for them.
Here's the thing.
I know. I'm just saying.
There's probably if they charge in tiers and lanes, it can keep people into lanes in that way. There's probably less of a chance that they'll slow people down because they'll have everyone tiered off into whatever category that they're in. So the actual chances of you getting throttled down based upon what you pay would be less, because if you're paying for the higher tier, theoretically there's probably less of people at that higher tier, so you should be able to hammer away at it as much as you want to versus people that are at the lower speed tier. So that just depends upon what it is. But although the speed tier options are a lot better than this fake full unlimited crap that they've been doing, where they kind of so it's like if they're willing to give decent speed tiers and to say you pay for this versus that, which is what cable and internet home ISPs do to you anyways, and that's actually the normal way they charge even for business internet. They charge it based on how fast you want to go versus connection rates versus charging you for how much you consume. I'd rather them go in that direction than what they're doing now, which is just you get unlimited but 22 or 50 or this many gigabytes and that and so on. No, their whole point, their whole plan for 5G is that you buy a 5G device and they want this to be your main internet connection for home, away, and wherever the hell you're going. So if they're going to do this based on speed tiers, I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah, I've really lost a lot of faith in the American population that Verizon can put out plans saying, now you can pick the unlimited plan that's right for you, and that people aren't rioting in the street. I really feel like Verizon's won if this is the commercial they can put out with language and verbiage like that. I
don't think anyone's paying attention anymore because they've put out so many different versions of plans. All these carriers, people are numb to this shit. Mm-hmm. Like they have no idea when they're talking about a plan any damn more, because it's like the plan is this price point for this point. Like they turned it into a math equation. They have turned it into a literal math equation walking in. We're better off when the plan was $60 for 1,000 minutes and unlimited data. Shit, at least you knew what the hell it was. You ask people what their plan is now? Not a clue. They just know because it has to. They've confused and mathed everything out so much. Rather than they could have pulled off the tiered speed thing here too. They could have did it with 4G LTE too. They would have did the same thing, and it probably would have been better off. But somebody in there with an MBA degree and actually no tech experience came up with this idea. This is what a Harvard business degree comes up with. Just saying. What you see now.
It just makes me sad that it works
I can shit on Harvard. I live in Massachusetts. I will shit on Harvard all day. I don't care. But I can do that here.
I am not. I would gladly join you on that. I would just ask it.
And I had family members that work at Harvard too that steered me away from ever applying there. So, so yeah.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. I was actually looking at something else when you guys are done. This is actually very interesting.
Sam was watching a totally different show than what we were doing.
Wait. Fat Produce, you're a former Best Buy employee. Welcome.
Sam,
not on the mobile space, but welcome.
Before we round up.
All right, so I was looking at the whole idea of that, the Amazon recast.
Oh no!
Oh god!
So the Amazon recast. No. Well, just I'll give it to them. I'm a little impressed on the pricing on it. I'll put it that way. It's what $229 and $279, right?
Yeah, as opposed to TiVo, which is there's.
No, it's not even TiVo. I'm like, but the good thing about this is, I think people now it'd be worthwhile for people to go out and see what it would cost to get a Synology 2-bay server, which is actually $169, and then you can get a 500 gigabytes for $61, right? And then you can get the let's say something like a Home Run HD for about $99, which is like a 2-tuner card. And you're ending up at the end of the day, you're ending up at about like $329, which is still less than $100 difference, and you can do a lot more with that configuration. So it might be worthwhile, like if Amazon's bringing this conversation up, people going, what can I do by myself? You don't have to build them from scratch anymore. You can actually buy a post-production, or basically a customer-friendly, a more customer-friendly product, and put it all together, and not still spend somewhere in the ballpark of what Amazon is doing, which is pretty good. I think people should look at that. I think that might be a good solution.
Well, don't buy this damn Fire recast thing.
Well, that's what Sam was saying also, and just
don't buy this
more DIY items altogether. But anyway, thank you very much, for joining us. Question for the panel. This is our second show at 3 p.m. Do you like the time? Juan, I'm not asking you. Just keep quiet there.
That's about haircut time, man.
I'd like to know I'd like to know the time, and the time is actually supposed to be scheduled this way. It'd be nice to be informed of this with some type of notification.
We were informed last week.
We didn't actually say that we were doing this until later.
After he left, that's why. So do you so Sam and Warren, what do you think?
I prefer this time. Okay,
that's
2. Sam,
stop being lazy. This is your time.
I don't mind it at all. The only thing is I would have to change a few things around.
So. Sorry, I lost myself there for a second.
Sorry, man. You get to do the 3.
All right, so
it's you gotta cut back on date time.
Yeah, I know date time is going to be interrupted, but it's official. We are moving to 3 p.m. To allow Mr. Juan Bagnell have some sleep. That's how generous we are on this show. Very generous.
It allows us to have all of us to now have a morning.
Yeah.
All of us can have like the first half of the day now.
Yeah, that's true.
Some of us have to get cuts on Saturdays.
A quality of life improvement for all of us. I think this is the right way to go.
It took us 5 years to get to this point. It's okay. It is okay.
And how long did it take to make a decision that basically negated 5 years of scheduling? About like 30 seconds.
And also, it does kind of help out some other people in our community too. Demir Frank, the Nitpicker, and Fat Produce, Andrew Wallace. They did a live stream in our old time slot. So I mean, really, it's like we're giving back to the community by doing this.
There we go.
We're saying we dominated that time slot. We're just going to give other people a chance. And now,
as long as we don't move to CW 7 p.m. on Sundays, that is death.
We're not getting put in the death slot. I
was gonna try and make a joke about Better Call Saul, and I honestly can't tell you when that show is on because I always just catch like 2 or 3 episodes at a time.
It's 9 p.m. on Sunday, I think.
I have no idea. I honestly don't know.
We're not on the Friday night death slot. We didn't get thrown into there yet.
I would
Fridays
say
at 7. Yeah, you're effed if you're at Fridays at 7.
Super hot.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. So 3 p.m. now, guys. I will put out the information ahead of time. And Warren, you don't need to know anymore. You need a reminder because it's always going to be 3 p.m.
That's good.
Yeah.
No, I'm just happy to. No, I planned a bunch of stuff and had to change it like last minute because we're looking at it.
I mean, he almost missed the wedding, but it was okay. It's
no, you sent. I didn't know you changed it, so I saw the tweet. That's all the tweet.
Well, that's what Twitter works, man. Come on.
I would have been sitting here at like 12, like let's get ready to go, and it's like just
there was an email sent yesterday, man,
with no time.
No, the time,
no time.
Was in the
second. The time.
You didn't send it till after I told him the time.
You're right.
All right. Anyway, guys, quickly, since we've run pretty long today, what do you have on your channel? What can we expect? So, Warren, fire away, or you need some time? Or should
no, I'm fine. Oh, well, no, I'm fine. I'll have an iPhone XS Max unboxing of some sort, or some sort of iPhone. God damn, it's iPhone 10s Max, whatever. Oh God, the name of this thing. But that thing, I'll have a video on it. That's all you need to know, because I can't remember. Like, I'm messing up the name like crazy.
You should follow the convention of tennis Max, and tennis R.
Who named this crap? Who named these? Like, who in Apple thought these were good names?
We don't need to circle back to that. We can just end this podcast.
We talked about that.
Juan, how about you? What
this last week, I got to spend a little bit more time just kind of treating my ears. So from the KZ earbuds that I put out, finally got that review out on the Creative Sound Blaster X, the Generation 6 of their USB gamer audio interface, which I was very surprised by the performance there, especially for their Scout mode, which is like a zoom in and enhanced hearing aid mode for your games, for your ears. And then I also managed to finish up a review on the LG Tone Platinum SEs. So another neckband pair of earbuds, which IMO handily wreck what AirPods and Pixel Buds are doing, even though they are a little bit more expensive than that. Next week, I don't know that I'm going to have the video ready. But I am going to be spending some time with a company here in California that does ear molds. So people, for a company that tries to fit like musicians with higher quality earbuds and ear molds, they've got kind of a push for trying to branch out into a more consumer space. So for those of you who maybe just normal traditional earbuds, they don't fit very well, I'm hoping I'll have that video out next week. I don't know that I'll have that video out next week, but I'm really excited because my old monitors, the ear mold started cracking, so I need to get replacements. Then I also got another episode of Creator Chat out. So first week, I had TK Bay on to talk about his experiences starting with XDA. Someone who's in the live chat right now, I had a 2-hour sit down with Demir Frank, talking about his experiences creating tech reviews for both English and German audiences. And so it's a long form conversation, just talking about how he got started, how he manages his community. You can catch that on the SGGQA podcast feed. If you go to any of your favorite podcast casters, go to somegadgetguy.com. It is not a YouTube video. It is only an audio conversation. So, long form, you don't have to worry about keeping your YouTube app up and running. And then next Thursday, we're going to have another episode of New Egg Now. So be on the lookout for that, as Trisha and I think we're going to be doing a little bit more retro gaming this next week. I don't have my full topics list for that.
We didn't talk about Nintendo Online being launched, did we?
No, we did. Oh, God. There was a bunch of other gaming things.
I've been playing so much Super Mario Bros. 3. So much. I need to get. I got to get to. I had to pre-order the controllers though, because you need NES controllers to play the majority of these games. The Joy-Cons do not work that well.
But yeah, so I'll have an iPhone probably in about another week, and I'm not going to do a review on it. I don't really feel like anyone's going to care if I do a review on the iPhone, but I will be doing the camera deep dive, and I will be doing an audio tech examination. I can't even call it a review because Apple doesn't allow you to do anything with audio on an iPhone unless you are okay damaging your hearing by listening on terrible earpods that are convenient because they're in the box, but they're, I guess hearing aids will just be cheap when you're in your 40s. So that's awesome. But yeah, that'll be a Patreon exclusive. So the iPhone camera video and the iPhone audio video will be on patreon.com/somegadgetguy.
All right, cool. That's good to know. On our end, the Colonel Sigala, has officially taken over all unboxings. So definitely go check out his iPhone XS Max or whatever he calls it. I was very excited. So that's up there. We did our speaker test, as well as also our gaming video on the iPhone. Now I almost sound like the Colonel. Shit.
Because they're two different people.
Yeah, two different
totally different people.
10x mask, whatever. The big
you
one.
Know what I really want you to do. I'm sorry. I'm going to break your breaking the fourth wall character thing here. I'd really love you to take a stab as the Colonel and yourself at those gimmicky debate videos that TheVerge used to do back in the day, where they would split screen and have the same person talking about two different aspects of the same thing.
Oh yeah.
I really feel like the Colonel needs to make, like, we can have the Colonel and Thundery at the same time debating. I feel like this is a missed opportunity.
Okay, all right. I just need something that I can pronounce easier than 10s. Oh, Jesus Christ, man!
Welcome.
No. I'm
actually
pronouncing
just the
exactly
conversation
like
between you and the Colonel trying to pronounce the names of the new iPhones might be enough for an entertaining video.
And also our gaming video on there, which the iPhone usually does well. Check it out. Except this phone runs hot.
Really? So sorry, not to spoil your video. Hotter than the iPhone 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I'm actually, I have it on my list right now. I was gonna watch it later, but I'll watch it as soon as this is over, because that's something I need to take a look at.
Yeah. I would say, like, I played each game for about 5 to 10 minutes, and literally at the 5-minute mark is when it literally just starts getting hot. And for me it's weird because every 845 device this year has not felt that way, because a lot of people are using new cooling and all that kind of stuff. So
no. You'll get that on an iPhone in 2025.
Yeah.
2020. No. I mean, because like the first phone that did heat pipe was Nokia. that I know of was Nokia. No, it wasn't Nokia. It was Microsoft.
Yeah.
The Lumia 950. So from the Lumia 950 to, I think 2021, Apple will invent heat pipes in 2021 for their phones. So it's perfect. We're right on. You just need 2 more years, and then your iPhone will finally be able to dissipate heat from a near laptop powerful mobile processor chipset. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Most advanced cooling system in the world today.
And then next week I have my LG G7 4-month video, kind of leading up to the V40. We also have our Dell G7 gaming laptop video coming up as well, and the Synology DS1618 NAS, which I actually gave to my buddy Marian Sells, the professional photographer. I didn't tell him anything. I said, go ahead and set it up yourself and let me know what you think. So it's interesting from someone who's not technical, seeing how they can actually set up their own NAS. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much again for joining us. If you have any questions, if you want to leave more comments, you can always do it in the comment section of the video. Apologize, we ran a little longer, actually much longer in this episode, but this is our first 3 p.m. You know how it is. Time. Okay, never mind. Nobody got that. All right, cool. So definitely check out all the channels. You can check out Mr. Warren Bowman at BW1.com on all parts of the internet, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, not on the porn section, though. I said just the social. And you can also check out.
We're so close to sticking the landing, and it's just not going to happen, is it?
And you can check out Mr. Juan Magnell, some gadget guy, everywhere on the web, and also on Newegg now, Thursdays at 1 p.m. And then Sam, aka Black Iron _man. You can find him on Twitter or Instagram as Black Iron _man on both. Myself, it is Booredatwork on the web. Thank you very much. And I'm just going to shut up and say always enjoy your entertainment.
Bam.